that Mr. Trump had not presented any evidence at all that hiring and paying your own personal attorney relates to your core constitutional duties, that paying hush money relates to your core constitutional duties.
Up for debate in a Donald Trump presidency, but okay.
Again, shocking.
The Lincoln Project, a group of Republicans and former Republicans, has become quite famous for its sharp and funny advertisements targeting Donald Trump.
I saw a project, a thing called the Lincoln Project, and I would have them change the name to the Losers Project, because if you take a look at Schmidt, it's George Conway. The guy is, Kellyanne must have done a big number on him, but it's George Conway and it's some other people, Weaver. Every one of them I either defeated or they lost by themselves. But it's a group of major losers. They're Republican losers.
These parody ads seem to really bother Trump, making him respond angrily by calling the Lincoln Project losers. However, his upset reaction shows that these ads are actually affecting him. The goal of the Lincoln Project is to slightly shift public opinion by just 4% to influence election outcomes. They use their deep understanding of Republican strategies to fight against what they see as harmful Trump-influenced politics. They admit they might not be heroes, but they see their work as crucial right now.
Welcome to another day in paradise, okay? I'd like to testify. In fact, I always testify. I've never not once not testified. It's a mistrial, okay? I missed most of it.
One of their ads presents a courtroom scene highlighting the legal troubles Trump faces, suggesting humorously that he might be so nervous he needs diapers. This is their way of poking fun at how uncomfortable Trump seems with his legal challenges. Trump's irritated response to these ads shows that they're hitting their mark. The Lincoln Project keeps making these ads not just for laughs, but to spark serious thought and motivate people to think carefully about who they support politically. They want to keep the conversation going about Trump's behavior and its impact. Every ad mixes humor with pointed political insights meant to draw people in and get them talking. As these ads show, Trump's hold on his supporters may be weakening.
New hoax alert. New hoax alert.
What would happen if the boat sank from its weight and you're in the boat and you have this tremendously powerful battery and the battery's now underwater and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there?
The Lincoln Radio Project isn't just about making jokes. They're teaching through satire with each new ad. They also provide more information about why they're doing what they're doing, helping viewers understand more about their mission. This ongoing campaign is both entertaining and enlightening, aiming to make clear the real-world importance of staying informed and involved in politics. The Lincoln Project is basically a group made up of Republicans who aren't happy with President Trump.
And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
They decided to team up because they believe in sticking to the true values of the Republican Party, which they feel include things like honesty and respect, values they think Trump isn't really upholding. Their advertisements are like short stories that showcase where they believe Trump has gone wrong, especially concerning big topics like the COVID-19 pandemic. According to them, Trump didn't handle the situation with the seriousness it deserved. This led to a lot of chaos and problems, which they highlight in their ads. Through these ads, they're trying to send a message that Trump's approach isn't what the Republican Party truly stands for. They also talk a lot about Trump's style, his manner of speaking, and his actions, which they argue could be damaging the reputation of the Republican Party and the polite, respectful nature traditionally associated with American politics. They're particularly focused on the importance of adhering to the Constitution, and they believe Trump has been somewhat careless in this respect. Moreover, the Lincoln Project emphasizes that leadership is more than just making bold statements or decisions. It's about being respectful, honest, and playing by the rules. Their ads are their way of saying, we need to address these issues and return to our fundamental principles. Initially, when COVID-19 hit, President Trump seemed to downplay the severity of the virus. He didn't take it as seriously as many thought he should. This portrayal in the ad suggests that when quick and firm action was needed, the response was lackluster. Picture it as if, when a strong leader was needed to steer the ship through a storm, the captain was underestimating the wind and waves.
Of COVID cases going up. I mean, it's like the gods have suddenly decided to conspire against you.
I don't think so at all, no. I think
Well,
we've
what
done a
about
great
these-
job with COVID.
Sir, excuse me, cases are up in about 40 states.
You know why cases are up also? Because we do more testing. The fake news media loves to say cases are up.
As the virus spread, President Trump also pushed some medical treatments that hadn't been fully tested or approved. This move raised a lot of eyebrows and added to the confusion and fear people were already feeling. The ads hammer on this point, showing it as a big mishap. On top of these health concerns, Trump's reluctance to fully endorse safety measures like wearing masks and maintaining social distance is highlighted as a critical mistake. The ads depict this as a failure that allowed the virus to spread even more widely and quickly than it might have otherwise. Then there's the economic impact. The ads don't shy away from pointing out how devastating the pandemic has been for the economy. Many people lost their jobs and many businesses found themselves struggling to survive. According to these ads, President Trump seemed to focus more on how the stock market was doing rather than on how everyday Americans were faring during this crisis.
And the unemployment rate actually moved down to 3.8%. Hourly income up a sharp 0.3%.
These really are very impressive numbers, and this jobs market just continues to defy expectation.
The parody ads are also critical of how the government handled economic relief. They suggest that there was a delay in providing necessary financial support to families who were suffering. Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, is depicted as more concerned with protecting big businesses than with helping ordinary people struggling during the pandemic. These ads don't just criticize, they also call for action. They encourage Americans to speak up and demand more responsible and effective leadership. They emphasize the importance of integrity, competence, and a commitment to public welfare in government. The message is clear. It's time for citizens to demand accountability and better governance. Adding a touch of satire, one ad describes President Trump using the analogy of a strange bird with unusual habits, hinting at his unique and often controversial style of leadership. This metaphor aims to underline the oddity and ineffectiveness of his actions in a humorous way. All right, let's chat about the whole uproar around those Lincoln Project parody ads about Donald Trump. It sounds like these ads really hit a nerve, didn't they? Trump seemed quite upset, which is saying something considering his usual demeanor. So what's the big fuss? The ads pull no punches in highlighting a pattern where Trump often seemed to be caught off guard by big crises. Think about the huge disasters or the whole COVID-19 mess. People noticed he wasn't exactly the most coordinated or empathetic leader during those times. This lack of a compassionate and effective response only made things worse rather than better. And it's not just about being unprepared. The ads argue that Trump's way of doing things, prioritizing personal gain, stirring up division, dismissing expert advice, really didn't help in bringing people together or fostering trust in tough times. They're basically saying, look, this guy couldn't handle the pressure when it really counted. They go even deeper, suggesting that Trump's style and decisions might not just be poor judgment calls but could reflect deeper issues with his suitability for the presidency. His reaction to the parody ads? Well, it's seen as a kind of proof that he might not have the right temperament for the job. You know, getting all worked up instead of responding calmly or constructively.
Verdict. It was almost a jubilant, giddy Donald Trump, but that changed very, very quickly when Judge Merchan came back into the room to inform the parties that the jury had reached that verdict.
Donald Trump is a felon. Donald Trump is a criminal. Donald Trump may not vote for himself. Donald Trump may not own a gun. Donald Trump has transformed himself by his own actions into a person who the normal Trump voter would loathe and despise. Trump voters are always about, oh, the criminals must be punished, they must be put in jail, they must be treated as if they were subhuman animals because they're desperately trying to destroy our country. Guess what? Donald Trump's a criminal.
The jury had a verdict after only 9 hours of deliberation, which is not a long deliberation for a 34-count indictment of this complexity level. And so Donald Trump watched his jury enter the courtroom for what would be the final time. The only thing defendant Donald J. Trump heard in the courtroom when the torturous suspense finally broke was this. The clerk: how say you to the first count of the indictment charging Donald J. Trump with the crime of falsifying business records in the first degree? Guilty or not guilty? Juror number 1, guilty. How say you to count 2? Guilty. 34 times. 34 times. Just half an hour earlier, Donald Trump was laughing with his lawyer, laughing as he had never laughed before. And then he had to listen to the word he hoped he would never hear 34 times.
Rule of law held. The institutions held. This wasn't masterminded by Joe Biden. It's not the deep state. You were just a jury of Donald Trump's peers in New York, looked at the evidence of the crimes he committed, and found him guilty. I think there is a shift happening now. There are now people who have to look at Donald Trump and say, he's a felon.
When you're standing in the voting booth and you say to yourself, can I really vote for a guy who is a convicted felon, who is already been charged with assault, in fact, rape? Can you go with somebody who is absolutely unhinged and says the wild and crazy and stupid things that this man says? Can you really put America in that position with whether it's adversaries or allies, with foreign dignitaries, where he will disrespect anyone? He will do anything so long as it benefits him. He will sell, as I believe that he has already done, shown top secret documents to adversaries.
Who has been convicted of 34 felonies, and the underlying bump up crime was that he had to steal an election, or at least conspire, I should say, to try to steal an election. In addition to that, Donald Trump violated the gag order 10 times and was held in contempt. You are someone who puts your own interest above that of society's. You break the law, you bend the law, you don't listen to authority, you do whatever you want, and you show no remorse because he's going out and he's denying it. He's not saying he's sorry, he's saying he's innocent. And he's also attacking the judge, attacking the judge's family, attacking the DA. He held a baseball bat to a picture of the baseball bat to a picture of Alvin Bragg's head. Any other defendant would have been put in a long time ago and would get at least the 4 years. I don't know that anyone would get 20 years.
Alina, would you rather be smart or pretty? And I said, oh, easy, pretty. I can fake being smart.
We have got a case of the fake people here. Trump's lawyer in the E. Jean Carroll case, Alina Habba, said that E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, had an improper mentor-like relationship with the judge, suggesting a conflict of interest in the defamation trial. Now, Kaplan is threatening Habba with sanctions, claiming Habba made up a person to justify her accusations.
Alina Habba, who's been widely criticized for her poor performance as a courtroom attorney, has had to quickly backpedal after a major claim she made to appeal the more than $83 million jury award appears to be false. The New York Post had quoted her in an article on Monday alleging that the judge and Carroll's attorney knew each other very well from their days at a top law firm. So well, in fact, that they had a mentor-mentee relationship. This is news to us, Habba is quoted as saying. She then repeated this unfounded claim in a motion to the court. Now, Carroll's attorney, Roberta Kaplan, fired back in a letter today saying, quote, as Ms. Habba well knows, these allegations are utterly baseless.
I pled guilty in federal court to felonies for the benefit of, at the direction of, and in coordination with individual number one. And for the record, individual number one is President Donald J. Trump. I have lied, but I am not a liar. And I have done bad things, but I am not a bad man. I have fixed things, but I am no longer your fixer, Mr. Trump. And I am going to prison and have shattered the safety and security that I tried so hard to provide for my family.
Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. Cohen went to prison for what you just heard him describe, crimes that benefited and were directed by individual one, Donald Trump. It's no longer the case. Now, individual one has been convicted by a jury of his peers.
Once again, Donald just violated. He doesn't care about the law. He doesn't care about anything other than venting like a petulant child. You know, Mary Trump said it best yesterday. He's now unhinged. And to listen to the rambling, meandering, just like Todd Blanche during his cross-examination, that rambling, meandering, sort of non-thought thought. That's all that he did. I think he embarrassed himself, not just in front of the folks that were working at the Trump Organization that were there filling the spaces.
That's who those folks are,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, but he's also embarrassing himself in front of anyone that was watching. He accomplished nothing with that.
The Florida judge overseeing Donald Trump's classified documents case is once again delaying the proceedings.
I can come up with no other reason than she is purposely avoiding ruling on certain matters and doing the best